Long ball number 3 here on June 6th. It is the Fab Four Picks of the Week here, our weekly segment, looking ahead at the weekend, the slate of games across the North American calendar. I'll start, then Jason, then producer Jenny's going to make her on-screen debut, and then chat, put your games into the chat. You will be the fourth pick of this week's Fab Four. I'll get us started with this week's fabulous
By the way,
games of North American soccer.
Just 1 second, Rob. 1 second. You're
I'm ready. I'm off and firing.
If you do want your game to be the fourth game in the Fab Four, it would definitely help to be a member of Morning Kick Around. So maybe do that. We'll prioritize members and people that have contributed to help the show. So keep that in mind. Rob, go ahead with your pick.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know who the MK Ultra, first ever MK Ultra of the week is at the end of the segment. But kicking us off, first pick of the Fab Four, I'm going to go to the USL Championship. It is a USL Championship rivalry. Two of the traditionally strongest teams facing off under the lights in Louisville. Louisville welcoming the Tampa Bay Rowdies. And notable, Louisville in a position in the top two, which they typically find themselves, but Tampa Bay Rowdies at the bottom of the East?
Yeah, that's not normal, is it? There's something broken right now in Tampa, and I know some of our USL Championship watching friends out there have a line on what's going on with Tampa. 10 games played. They have 5 points. They are -9 in goal difference. This is not what you would expect from a team that has always been in the Eastern Conference Finals or thereabouts. So something to keep an eye on. And, maybe this is an opportunity to start their engines back up. Although I think if you were a betting kind of person, you would have some strong money on Louisville to win this game at home.
That would seem to make sense just based on the form chart, but we shall see. That is Saturday at 8 on the ESPN Plus. Jason, you got the second pick. What do you got going into this weekend for the Fab Four?
Well, I got to pick the U.S. men's national team against Turkey in their friendly as they get ready for the Gold Cup. I was doing some checking, and I was doing the Best Soccer Show last night, and there was some discussion about this. One of the concerns was that maybe this U.S. men's national team, which over in the Best Soccer Show we have dubbed the Shadow Squad, because they're kind of not the first team, they're not the best team, they're kind of like the backup group.
The team that's there.
Kenan Yildiz is the talented 20-year-old player from Juventus, born in Germany, represents Turkey internationally. Now, you're thinking, wait a second, how could he be available for Juventus when Weston McKennie and Tim Weah are not available and they play for Juventus? Well, the issue is that they're not available for the Gold Cup because of the Club World Cup. They could play in this window, but why would Mauricio Pochettino call in a couple of guys who are just going to go back to their club team right after this very short period? Whereas Yildiz has asked to play for the Turkish national team, but will be with Juventus for the rest of the summer after this little brief couple of games for them. So this is interesting. Like, is this a moment where the United States men's national team can rise to the occasion? Turkey is no pushover. I tried to build a lineup. This is my best shot at a lineup for the U.S. men's national team. Let me get this off the screen and get the right one up there. Anybody who disagrees with me, feel free to yell at me in the chat, because I did what I could here. Now, this looks like a 4-1-4-1. Think of it as a 4-3-3. It really doesn't matter. Formation notation is what it is. Matt Turner in goal. I think, obviously with Zach Steffen pulling out with injury, Patrick Schulte pulling out with injury, there's not a lot of options there. It's Chris Brady, who's not ready, and it's Matt Freese, and it's nice that Matt Freese is there, but I don't think he's going to start. So we've got Matt Turner in goal. And, you don't have to be thrilled about this. He hasn't played a ton of games for his club side, but he still probably is the number one. Max Arfston, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, and Alex Freeman. Now, Ream and Richards kind of picked themselves, although you could make an argument for, I don't know, Mark McKenzie, certainly in one of those spots. And Ream maybe is at the place where it's time to get him out of the team. And I am open to this idea from Spencer about playing three in the back, because part of the reason that you could do that, or you might do that, throw in a Mark McKenzie and have a third center back, is because Arvston and Freeman are going to get up the field. I've got Alex Freeman at right back. Now, remember that Serginho Dest just pulled out, isn't in this final Gold Cup roster. He will not be playing. Arvston has played a little bit under Pochettino. I think he likes him. He's more of a wing back than he is a fullback, but just go with me here. Tyler Adams picks himself. Chris Brady is not the choice. I'm sorry, Almaty. He is not the choice. Chris Brady is not ready for this. He's not good enough for the U.S. men's national team. I don't care if you don't like Matt Turner or not. Ahead of Tyler Adams, again, you can make an argument for Alec Tillman. I got to look at Della Torre because he's a good short passer of the ball. He can advance the ball a little bit. We don't have Yunus Musa, who typically has that role. Diego Luna has got to be in this team somewhere. He's a creative force and a goal scorer. Jack McGlynn is kind of a throw of the dice. I'll admit it. Brendan Aronson, and then Brian White. So you guys tell me who might be here. Nathan Harriel, who has come into this team. So excited to see Freeman from Almaty. Spencer says that Harriel plays right center back. Harriel just got added because of the injuries. It's possible he plays, and we have seen like a Walker Zimmerman's now on this team. Rob, do I expect Walker Zimmerman to be starting? No, I do not. But there it is. All right, that's my piece. Again, U.S. men's national team against Turkey coming up tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. All right, now it's we got Jenny's turn, right?
Yeah, welcome to the stage, producer Jenny. You pop yourself in here for the third pick of this week's Fab 4 Picks of the Week. Keep your chat suggestions coming in. Producer Jenny, third pick, what do you got?
Hey there. I am going to go with what on paper looks like the best MLS matchup of the week, which is the aforementioned Vancouver Whitecaps and the Seattle Sounders. They currently close out this abbreviated weekend of MLS action in Vancouver Sunday at 9 o'clock. Vancouver, as we know, typically the best MLS team. They've really had their surprising start to the season. Only the one loss, and considering their circumstances, this game not only in jeopardy in terms of just will they play it, but how well is Vancouver actually going to play in their first game back from Mexico if they do actually get this game off? Seattle's been in pretty decent form despite their loss last week. So I'm looking forward to watching this one. It's also a rivalry game. It's kind of that lower tier of the Cascadia Cup where you get Vancouver in.
You know what? Something to mention here as well is obviously international call-ups are going to have an impact. Yes. Brian White not available for Vancouver. So he's there. They're missing. Vancouver's missing Samuel Adekube, Ali Ahmad, Sebastian Berhalter, who I didn't mention with the U.S. men's national team. It didn't play in that CONCACAF Champions Cup final, but would be available for this game if he was with Vancouver. Andres Cubas, massive important player in the midfield for them, is missing. Jaden Nelson, Pedro Vite, another important player in the midfield, and as I said, Brian White. Meanwhile, the Sounders just have Osase Di Rosario, who is Dwayne Di Rosario's kid. He plays for Guyana. Stuart Hawkins, who is a defender, plays with the US U19s, not that big of a deal, and Reed Baker Whiting, who is kind of a not a fixture, but maybe a player you would expect the Seattle Sounders to use. So anyway, international call-ups, that is a fascinating MLS matchup for a lot of sort of narrative reasons.
And a reminder that the only game that Vancouver has lost in Major League Soccer action is in that Nations League window when those internationals were away. So as the chat, give it a couple more seconds to get your suggestions in. I started off the Fab 4 pick one with Louisville versus Tampa Bay and Nicholas Murray with a nice add onto this. Louisville would set a club record for the longest undefeated streak to start a regular season with a win or draw. So that adds to the anticipation and the excitement and the fervor behind my number one pick. But we're looking for the fourth pick, the chat pick. There were a couple good suggestions. I see Spencer throwing out there some USL Super League action, the semifinal stage, Tampa Bay Sun versus Dallas Trinity. So the USL Super League, for those uninitiated, in their first season, and they're doing the Euro calendar. So they're reaching the conclusion of their season there. Some other games brought into the mix. Arctic, Chicago at DC, a 98 MLS Cup rematch. Good suggestion there. I think we had a couple other ones. Soccer Night in Detroit, Loudoun Charleston match could be spicy. A couple agreements with your De La Torre and Luna pick together for the national team.
let me say something about Loudon Charleston. Charleston in first place in the Eastern Conference right now in the USL Championship, and obviously Loudon is a story. A couple weeks ago, we had Pablo Maurer from the Athletic before he left the Athletic, because now he's no longer with the Athletic, and he wrote on some of the things that were going on in Loudon with the team, with the surface, with some of the issues. Obviously, they have found some way to be successful. Ryan Martin's the guy, I believe, in charge on the sideline. So this is, you don't want, don't want the club to suffer. And it does look like, things maybe have gotten better, or there's a new commitment, there's new ownership, that kind of stuff. But I think that's a fascinating story, because if Loudon United, despite those stories, can go on and have an excellent season and maybe challenge for a USL Championship title, that would be fascinating.
I think I'm going to cheat a little bit and select for the chat pick for the fourth of the Fab Four, the USL Super League playoffs in general. Tampa Bay Sun versus Dallas Trinity, and Carolina Ascent versus Fort Lauderdale United. We haven't given them a lot of airtime, USL Super League. So your fourth pick is the USL Super League semifinals coming up this weekend. Thank you, everyone, for getting into the chat. Before we dig too deep, I think we have a first ever, our MK Ultras Ultra of the Week. And we had a big contribution, a boon of memberships. So Alex Merch, the first ever MK Ultra of the Week, there is your award. Put your arms around it, hug it, raise it above your head proud. Alex, thank you for supporting the show so generously on Wednesday. Thank you for gifting so many in here a membership. And for those who got that 1 month membership, remember, if you're enjoying the show, you can do it regularly.
Yeah, we that I guess that is an artist's rendering of Franz Peckenpower, our in-house rooster. I would say we might send this trophy back to the shop to add a soccer ball. I feel like Franz needs his ball. Otherwise, what is he? He's just another rooster. But this is a soccer playing rooster. So let's properly set him up so that he looks like what he is.
But Alex, thank you so much. Be like Alex, everybody. Support the show. If you don't have the gusto, what's that? You're pointing.
This is what Angus, member of the Morning Kick Around family, the MK Ultras. Kiss it on the beak. If you were holding up this trophy, right? Because what do you do with a trophy? You got to kiss the trophy, the trophy lift. You would definitely kiss this bird right there on its beak to celebrate your win as MK Ultra of the Week.
A tender peck for the Franz Peckenpower. If you want to get in on this, step one, hit subscribe. It's right under this window that you're watching right now. Hit subscribe. And then you can take it a step further and become a member. $3.99 gets you priority commenting, gets you early access to videos, gets you bonus content, gets you access to the Morning Kick Around Discord channel, which is livening up with some great threads from international, MLS, local stuff, all the above. Lots of great conversations happening there, and only becoming richer with more folks involved. Join the town square of the American soccer conversation. If you want to support with your own amount of your own choosing, you can do so. Ko-fi.com/morningkickaround. If you want to write us a note, we've been getting some promotion relegation manifestos, some nice notes. We're going to actually dip into our first Pro Rel manifesto here in a moment. If you want to do so, morningkickaround@gmail.com is the way to do it. I can't tell if you're laughing at something in chat or just laughing at me, but I'm going to keep going.
No, I'm laughing at the chat, and we're not going to share that comment. If that person who just made a joke wants to become a member, I will share it, but I'm not sharing it without that. So shout out to the chat. Doing work.
We're about showing love here at the show in any direction. And then if you want to write a note, morningkickaround@gmail.com, or support us on social media at mkickaround on X, Instagram, and Blue Sky.